Each morning, real setups are broken down with entry strategies and technical reasoning behind every trade. This is today's best trade setups with Verified Investing.
Welcome to today's best trade setups. My name is Benjamin Poole, head trader here at verifiedinvesting.com. Yesterday, we had a huge surge in the memory stocks. These just continued to drive to the upside with very little pullbacks. Now, today, it's AI, robotics, and full self-driving are the stocks that are moving today. I have some key resistance levels for you guys on MLBY and AUR, as well as a couple different other charts as well. And thank you so much for asking about IREN. The early bird gets the worm. You came in and commented earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and go over that chart in this broadcast as well. So the first thing I'm going to do, though, is we are monitoring Oracle. Here is the chart of Oracle. I'm expecting price action to get up to $210.57 for me. If it can get there today, this is my first shortable level. This is more of an aggressive level, but with this recent sell-off, this should be a pretty good level, decent move to the upside. And then less aggressive people shorting at $223.14 for those who are more conservative. I'm still eyeing this long at $180.04. We have this down-sloping trend line as well that I'm monitoring. It has broke out above this down-sloping trend line. However, it hasn't confirmed above it. So we're still technically in a downtrend until we can confirm above it. And then we'd be wanting to wait for a retrace to see the crime. And likely it's going to get down to about $180.04. I am swing long on ORCU. So I do still think it favors a move to the upside, but I'm also long right here at about $180.04. That's about where the retraces seen of the crime would be. Another stock that we've been monitoring for some time is AVGO. I'm still anticipating a little bit more of a bid to the upside. For me, because of the sell-off that happened on Monday and then subsequently on Tuesday, it actually closed slightly flat on the day. However, first shortable level is $361.78. This is a more aggressive level, knowing that I've got this upsloping trend line as additional resistance, probably going to about 365. Could go up to as high as 370 today, but this is a good shortable level. For me, I'm still eyeing this long trade at $329.88. If we start closing below that, it's likely to head down to this double bottom at 321.66. And for me, I'm picking up AVGO for a swing trade at 306.28. Baidu, we were mentioning, it tried to break out and now it's getting a bid back to the upside, the downside. If we start closing or consolidating over this time frame a little bit more, you're going to see a nice surge to the upside on Baidu. Right now, it is overly extended, so it could pull back. For me, my first long level is 130.69. We went over the stock of OKLO yesterday as well. I had a great shortable level into some resistance and never got up there. Had about a 5% pullback and then got a bid towards the afternoon session. Today, if we can get another bid, I still like that gap fill in the charts, or this wide range red bar candle, knowing that I've got a gap in the charts a little bit higher if it does decide to go in that direction. First shortable level today is 102.71, wide range red bar candle right here. If price can push up again, this is a day trade short level, and then a 111.65 is an additional gap in the charts. I would just continue to add every dollar higher on this trade, all the way up into $111. I would start with about a 1/10 of my position. That's just what I would do. If you're a little bit more conservative than I am, maybe you wait for $110 peers and then knowing you can add up to $111.65. Okay, let's go ahead and go into Mobileye, MBLY. This had a nice surge to the upside. I have a key trend line that it got resistance at in the pre-market. If it gets back up to this level in the regular trading hours, you should get at least a decent resistance and decent pullback. However, if it does start pushing above that, I have another, not a gap, but another level for you in the charts. Right now, I'm eyeing a couple different levels. Here's the line in the sand on the upside. If it pushes back down, $10.51 is going to be your support level. I've also got this down sloping trend line on MLBY that connects this pivot top from the 10th of July or June 2024. secondary pivot here, third pivot here. This trend line is getting broken to the upside. It hasn't confirmed yet, so it doesn't confirm that it's actually breaking out. But with this positive news, it got all the way up into this resistance level at $14.21. This could be significant resistance on a day trade basis if it gets up there in the pre-market or in the market action. For me, my first shortable level is right here at $15.02. This is a gap in the charts. Knowing that this resistance level got broken through, if you can push up a little bit more, this is where price action is likely to get rejected. On a long basis, what I would do is I would wait for a confirmation above this trend line. And then what happens oftentimes is price doesn't just continue to the upside. There are profit takers and there are a bunch of people who were stuck in this trade long here. Once price action gets back up there, they're likely to cut their losses, driving the price all the way down to the retrace of scene of crime, probably able to pick this up right about $12 if it confirms to the upside. Aurora innovations got as high as $4.91 today. This level right here at 504 is the first shortable level. It's such a small stock that I'm not going to be interested. But if you notice, there's this low pivot point right here that corresponds right with this gap in the charts. There will be a ton of selling pressure on Aurora Innovations if it can get up there. They are starting to get into the AI development for full self-driving. So there is some positive news on this. However, for a shortable level day trade, $5.04 is where I would be looking at in the charts. IREN is a momentum play. Every once in a while, you can get these wild swings to the upside and or the downside. You got to be prepared on which direction it's going to go, because you never know. You think it's going to continue higher, but then all of a sudden it gets a sell-off, and then all of a sudden you think it's going to be a sell-off, and then it goes higher. So we need to have our support and resistance levels already lined up. So let's go ahead and go into the charts of IREN. Just a little delay. There we go. First level of resistance for IREN is $51.73. This is going to be a previous gap in the charts, as well as this pivot top right here. You should get a nice rejection off of this first level. And then if it gets above that, $55.70 is actually a gap in the charts that still needs to be filled. You got to think about all these people who are stuck in this. If they got in right around $35.80, then they're likely to take profits once they get up to this gap fill in the charts, likely driving this down. You could take about a 2 to 3% pullback if we can get up there today. On the long play for IREN, I'm still eyeing, if you're aggressive, you could look for a trade all the way down to $42.68. For me, I would be waiting for a long level at $35.80. This could be more of a swing trade as well as a day trade, knowing that I've got this other gap in the charts at $33.75. And that's basically the line in the sand. If you start closing below this level on a daily closing basis, probabilities indicate that you're likely to break below that. You have additional support for IREN here as well. I had mentioned yesterday, talking about MU, it got up to $330. It got a decent pullback. I think it dropped back down below 325. And then it decided it wanted to get a nice bid to the upside. For you aggressive levels, we do have a little bit of a gap because it is gapping down slightly. If it pushes up again on MU, there is a possible shorting level for us in the charts. So here's the chart of MU. Again, it's only down to 337.95 currently in the pre-market. Those of you who are aggressive and are on day trade, are interested in a day trade, $343.43 is the gap in the charts. This is the closing price from yesterday. Based on this wide range greed mark candle, on a technical basis, this should be some pretty significant resistance. Once people get start taking their profits, I see this coming back down to at least $325.38. Once we break below that, I think the $300 and even the $285 or $89 level is where MU is likely to come back into. It's still got positive news. We still have a shortage in storage. So this is what's driving the momentum higher. Jensen Huang mentioned that there's a shortage and we're going to have to keep developing more and more storage. That's why we're getting these bids to the upside. But overall, you've got 1, 2, 3 huge wide range bar candles. Normally, I would like to see this as a green bar candle too, but this was a surge after this wide range red bar candle. This could signal exhaustion and likely to be a pullback coming soon on MU. Let's go ahead and go into the chart of an AMD real quick. $200.69. Now that we've had a couple days of sell-off, if we get one more sell-off to the downside, $200.69 is where I would be picking this up for a long play. And if we decide to get a bid to the upside, you had already resistance right here at $233. So I would be waiting for a short at $240.52. Let's go ahead and look at SoFi. Here's the power of retraces. Like I was mentioning, here's a breakdown of this upswing trend line. Got a nice bid from $25.27. Retraces seeing the crime. I was actually thinking that this wasn't quite a retrace, but as you can see, the price of SoFi just decided to plummet yesterday. Got all the way back down from $30 to $26.10. So that's a pretty big sell-off in SoFi. This is one of the reasons that we don't chase the moves to the downside or the upside. We wait for confirmation and we wait for retraces to see the crime. It gives us our best possibilities for setups, best entry prices, and minimize the amount of risk that we're taking in the specific trade. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me this morning at 8:45. Thank you so much for all of the comments. I really appreciate them. Thanks for joining, liking, subscribing, and sharing with your friends. I know they're getting a lot out of it based on your sharing ability. And that's awesome. Garasalo is going to be going live in less than 4 minutes. He's going to be talking about the stock market, the memory chips, and stuff going forward. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you guys next time in the charts. You guys have a great rest of your day and take care.